So here we go. I'm not actually in my bedroom. I'm in my mom's bedroom because it's like the warmest place in the house, and I was freezing in my bedroom, so I decided to come here to film. And so this is the Fellowship of the Ring. This is the Portuguese copy. It's a special edition of our library FNAC. So I'm opening it. Oh, and I think it has a cover. Yeah, it has a different cover on the inside, and I think that one is Gandalf. Yeah, I don't know. So it has two covers. I personally like this one better, but yeah, you know. So, oopsie, please don't fall because you're too big. So, The Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring. I just love these runes. Like, they're just so freaking pretty. And they actually remind me of this game that I played recently, which is Hellblade's Senua's Sacrifice. If you haven't heard about that game, you should totally play it because it's great. So I'm seeing here that the first edition of the Fellowship of the Ring was in 1981, which is really old, my god. So, okay, the index. Oh yeah, here we go. So this is the Rings of Power thingy that I wanted to read to you so that you can feel the hype as I'm feeling for reading this. And so, pardon me if I say the first part wrong, but the last one I'm pretty sure that I know it all by heart. So, The Lord of the Rings. 3 rings for the elven kings under the sky, 7 for the dwarf lords in their halls of stone, 9 for mortal men doomed to die. And now this part, I know it. 1 for the Dark Lord on his dark throne, in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all, 1 ring to find them, 1 ring to bring them all and in the darkness bind them, in the land of Mordor where the shadows lie. So, yeah guys, the adventure is starting! So I just wanted to tell you that we have in the Portuguese edition a little brief introduction that I'm actually going to read, and it is about the story, how it became a story. And yeah, I'm gonna read this all, but it starts in here, the actual story, with a prologue that is about the hobbits. And yeah, I'm really happy about this, so I hope that you guys will stick with me through this vlog, and I hope that I will love The Lord of the Rings. So I forgot to tell you that yesterday I also read the part of the Spectre. I'm not really sure that it's translated to English, but I'm just trying to translate the Portuguese version as well as I can. So it was the part where Frodo got lost in darkness and the hobbits were still alone trying to get to the place where they met Aragorn. I cannot translate that. It's the White Garin or the White Horse or something like that. I don't know. It's the bar where they meet Aragorn, so they are trying to go that way. And it was so freaking scary, the Spectre part. Like the way that Frodo woke up and saw everyone with white robes and just with jewelry in the complete darkness and with the swords and everything. It was just so terrifying. I was reading that late at night and I was like, Tolkien, why do you describe these things to me? Because this is really terrifying. Stop doing this. But I really enjoyed that part. It was pretty terrifying, and I got even more afraid of the knights and the specters and all of the things from Mordor. Like, it is just so terrible, and I got really scared of that. I would not want to be Sauron's enemy for sure, because my god, I would not like to have the ring. Like, poor hobbits, they just... and they're so sassy and so awesome, and Frodo is like, he's kind of a weak character. I mean, Merry and Pippin are way more smart, or smarter, I mean, than they were depicted in the movies, because they already knew everything that Frodo was up to. And Sam is such a loyal character, and he's such a great character. He's still my favorite character. He was in the movies, and he's being now in the books. And I'm sorry for moving the camera around, but my neck hurts really bad, so I have to just keep moving my head. And Frodo is still a little bit of a scared bitch, which I understand, because obviously he's not in a great position to not be scared. I would be scared shitless if I was in his position, but he continuously acts stupid, like the stunt that he performed to try and distract people from Pippin's story about Bilbo when they were meeting Aragorn for the first time. He just started dancing and singing and whatever, and he just risked everything, and he just put the ring, and I know that he wasn't planning on doing that, it wasn't intentional because the ring just does shit on his own, but damn you, Frodo. You had to go and do it, didn't you? Like, why did you do this? But I understand that it wasn't completely his fault, but it kind of was in a way. So, I know that the ring takes care of himself, which is kind of creepy. If you imagine a ring that takes care of himself, it's really creepy. But Frodo he put himself in a position where shit would go down. And he always does that. Like when the part that I was talking about with the specters, he was the one that run forward without telling anyone what he was doing, and he entered the darkness and he got his friends lost. Because of what? Because he's just careless. He's just careless, and he should have a little bit more care for his friends and for what he's doing, because he's just so freaking desperate to get to somewhere that he might eventually never get nowhere. And I know that he reaches Mordor, and I know how the story ends, or I think I do, but damn you, Frodo, just do things thinking about what you're doing, because by now, by this chapter in the book, if it wasn't for Aragorn, they'll probably be dead somewhere. Although, I do have to say that they were very brave in coming with Frodo, all of them, and that they were very brave in traversing the old forest or the ancient forest or whatever that is. They were brave, yes, but they are kind of stupid sometimes. So, I am almost without battery on my phone, and I am pretty much like just filming videos with no point to it for the Fellowship of the Ring. So I decided to present to you guys a theory that I have, that I don't know if anyone actually gave a fuck about it earlier or not. But as I was reading the Fellowship of the Ring, I was thinking like about the movies and about The Hobbit, the book, and I was thinking that I think I know why the ring affects Frodo so much, and it didn't seem to affect Bilbo as much until, you know, he grew old and he spent a lot of time with it because he was using it. But for Frodo, it kind of seems like, you know, I'm just gonna get straight up so you can talk to me as a normal person. But for Frodo, it seems that the ring always, you know, like has deep dark effects on him. And for Bilbo, in the beginning, where he got the ring in The Hobbit, he didn't feel anything like that. Like, he spared Gollum, he used it to help his friends and everything, the dwarves. And although he kept it, and although he invented that he had won it in the guessing game with Gollum, and he never revealed the truth until Gandalf actually point blank asked him how the fuck did he got the ring. I think that was after the ring started like having its effects on him, because he was using him too much for his own benefit. But for Frodo, he appears to feel the ring right after he gets it, and he tries, and you know, when Gandalf tells him what it is. And first of all, obviously that I know that in The Hobbit, Sauron was not awoken, per se. So the ring could be asleep or have less power or something like that. And in the beginning of the Fellowship of the Ring, Sauron is already awakened, and he knows that the ring is missing, and he's probably trying to control Frodo so that he can get the ring to him. But apart from that, I think that the ring influences Frodo a lot, even without him wanting, because Frodo is not really that... How do I say this without people hitting the dislike button? I think that Frodo is not at all that kind of, you know, altruistic, selfless character, in a way.
And I will try and explain this a little bit more. But if you see, for instance, when Gandalf is telling him about Gollum or Smeagol and his story and how he got the ring and how he got completely corrupted and unhappy and miserable and everything like that, instead of pitying him, which is kind of the normal reaction that even you have when you're reading the book or watching the movies, Frodo is like, oh, why haven't Bilbo killed him? And my face went like, what? He didn't kill him because he pity him, like people do because they have empathy, Frodo, which is the thing that apparently lacks you because you want to kill a poor, demented creature that, although fairly fine, he assassinated another friend in order to get the ring, without having touched the ring for the first time, so the power that the ring had over him was still not that well developed. So yeah, you can say that Smeagol wasn't actually a good person in a way, but Frodo, why do you want to kill that poor creature? Like, Gandalf is telling you that he is in the darkness and he feeds only on raw fish and he's never seen the light again and he just desperately wishes for a freaking ring. He's a pitiful creature. I pity him, and I think everyone pities him, but Frodo is like, well, why should I pity him? Like, why don't you kill him? And why haven't Bilbo killed him? And let's just kill him. And that for me is kind of complicated because why would your first instinct be to kill? You know what I mean? And actually with his friends as well, with Pippin and Merrin and Sam, he's not, like, sometimes a little bit sassy, and that's pretty cool. I really enjoyed that the hobbits on their own are actually very sassy. Pippin, Merrin, and Sam have their moments as well. But Frodo sometimes is a little bit disrespectful. Like, they are trying to help you, and they are putting themselves in danger for you because they have nothing to do with your freaking quest and your freaking ring. And I know it's not your fault because Bilbo left it to you, but still, it is your inheritance and not theirs. And he kind of disrespects them a little. Just a small little. And if you notice, like, I lost my train of thought here. Oh, yeah. But, and if you notice, like, every time that he's, you know, like, how can I say this? Like, and even when he's thinking altruistically, if you know what I mean, like when he says, I can't force my friends to go on this journey and to go on this adventure with me, and I have to do it alone, and he goes to say goodbye of his friends without telling them where he's going, and they're like, oh, we already know everything because we had you followed, and yeah, and he acts so surprised and everything like that, but he immediately, like really immediately, just goes like, okay, so if you had the trouble of understanding everything that's going on, then yeah, cool, you can come with me. And I don't know, I think maybe I'm a little bit tainted because of the whiny Frodo that I've watched in the movies, and granted, he seems a little bit more whiny in the movies than in the book. I don't know, because I am only half point at the Fellowship of the Ring right now. But this is a theory that I have, is that he is more controlled by the ring, not only because Sauron is awakened and looking for the ring and wants the ring to his possession, so he's influencing Frodo, but also because Frodo in itself is not really nice and empathetic on his own, if you know what I mean. He would probably make some bad decisions on his own, which he actually just revealed that he would do, like killing Smeagol, or like, I'm not saying that he would actually do it, because I feel like in the end if he were in Bilbo's shoes or in Gandalf's shoes, he would probably pity Smeagol or Gollum. But still, it's not pretty cool to want to kill someone just because they're irrevocably lost to the world. But I don't know, and I don't know, like, tell me if you think that I'm overreacting about this and that I'm just seeing Frodo as opposed to Bilbo, which is supposed to be the model hobbit of the story. If I'm exaggerating in some point, but I have this theory. I do believe that Frodo is more influenced because he's like that inside of him, like he has some dark thoughts inside. Like, I don't know, it's just a theory that I have, so I'm just gonna keep reading the book so that I can prove to myself if I'm right or wrong. And I'm trying to get over the half mark of the Fellowship of the Ring so that I can go on into the Two Towers. But now it's kind of getting a little bit, they found Aragorn and they are just trying to lose the knights and to find Gandalf and to just go to Rivendell. And I don't know, it's getting a little bit, it seems like they're always lost. And there's a part where they are in the swamps with mosquitoes. And I'm like, okay, I understand, mosquitoes are fucking bitches, but just get on with it. Let's, like, go. I'm not being bored, but there are some parts that I could just, I don't know. Let's just see, okay? So here I come to you not dressed in my pajamas, which probably sounds scary, and you're not used to see me like a normal person just having an active life. But I just wanted to say before I leave home that yesterday at night I didn't, well, it's hard to speak today. But yesterday at night I read a little bit more of the Fellowship of the Ring, so I haven't finished yet, but I am almost there because the book is 460 something pages. And I am at 410 right now, I believe. So I'm almost done, and I don't know if I can finish it today, but I'm gonna give it a really big shot and try and finish it today. But I just wanted to say that I finally read the events that happened at Moria, the Mines of Moria, and it was freaking awesome. Like, Gandalf proved himself to be a way useful character than I am used to seeing in the movies, so he was badass. He was like, I'm going to fight all of these orcs off, and I'm going to kick their ass. And when Balrog appeared, he was like, I am the Lord of Fire, and you shall not pass, motherfucker. And it was so great, and I love that. It was really great. And I love how, well, spoilers if you haven't, obviously spoilers, because I am doing a video about my thoughts on a book, so yeah, but spoilers if you haven't read the rest of the books or haven't watched the movies. But I love how everyone thinks that Gandalf is now dead, and they are like mourning, and how Tolkien describes how they mourn differently. And that's really awesome, because not only we have a book that presents different races, and although most of them are fantasy races, I think it's important to just express diversity in the books. Not only does he express that, but he expresses a difference between people and between cultures and between people in the same culture. And I love how some of them are just crying but in silence and standing for Gandalf, and some of them are just rolling around the floor, just really sad about that sacrifice that he did for them. And it was just really heroic, because in the movies it was heroic, and it was one of the best parts of the first movie. The first movie, I believe it wasn't the first movie. But because he wasn't doing a lot, he was just something that it was like meant to be, okay? Like, you're finally doing something and you're going to sacrifice yourself for the group and for the greater good and for the ring to move on. But in here, it was like, he's such an important part of the plot and of the book, and he's dying, and he died, they think. And we think, I felt something in my chest, and I was like, you're stupid, you know that he's not dead. But, well, it was just really beautiful to read. I loved it. I love the whole part of the Moria Mines. I have to say that I loved it. And I know some people that have read that part and have given up on the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy because of that part, or what happened until that part. But that part was so worth it. For real, I didn't feel like it was overwhelmingly descriptive. I liked the idea that we were just in the darkness and we had no idea where we were, and that he had to describe some of the stones and some of the paths, because that was the general idea. Like, they were all lost. They had no idea where they were. Gandalf was their only guide, and it was really amazing. And the fact that now I know that Gimli, the dwarf, is the descendant of one of the dwarves that accompanied Bilbo, and the fact that they found the grave of another friend of Bilbo, Balin, in the Moria mines was just such an intense part of the plot. I was like, oh no, he died. Like, they tried to recover Moria for the dwarves and they died. And it was such an ungrateful death because then Gandalf picks up this journal of some of the dwarves. And in the journal, there's stuff depicted, and there was some writing saying, "We are trapped. They've got us. We have no way out." And then, like, just this line filled with blood that says, "They are here," and the journal ends. And it's just so intense. It's like everyone is dying in this freaking mines. What is going on? And it's just, I'm sorry. It's just so intense. That whole Mines of Moria chapter was just so intense, was just so great. It was probably one of my favorite chapters for now. I don't know, I haven't read the next two books yet, but for now it was probably my favorite chapter of the book. It was great. And I love how now they are going through that elf area where all of the trees are just golden and beautiful in the winter. And I think they're going to meet Galadriel, which I was expecting that for a while now. Sorry, I can't speak. But yeah, I was waiting for that for a while now, and I'm just so happy that they're going to finally meet her. I believe. I haven't read that chapter yet. But I don't know, the way that Tolkien describes all of the beautifulness of the elf land, and I don't know, all of the reactions, and the way that there's this feud between the elves and the dwarves, but they are both guilty and none of them is guilty in the same way. So it's just so interesting. It's just so diverse and just so nice to read something like this in fantasy. I'm just so overwhelmed in all of the senses of reading The Fellowship of the Ring. I'm loving it, and I'm really sad that I'm finishing it, but I'm really happy that I still have 2 more books to read on this trilogy, because beautiful, beautiful writing. I am in love with this, completely in love, and I am so stupid that I haven't read this sooner, because it's so great. But I have to say, I love the Moria chapter. I love that. I love it. Chapters, because I do believe there's 2 chapters in the Moria arc of the thing. I just love it, and I just want to see Gandalf come back, because I know that he will come back, but my chest is hurting that he's not with them anymore, because he was getting so sassy. When Pippin, inside of the mines, he throw a stone into a ancient well just to see how far would it go. Gandalf was like, "The fuck is that?" And Pippin was like, "Oh, I throw a stone," and he's like, "Next time, throw yourself in and stop bothering me." And I was like, "Oh, burn, Pippin." It was just, and I was so happy. I'm not reading it in English, sadly. I wanted to be reading this in English, but I'm reading it in Portuguese because it's the only edition that I have, and it's a beautiful edition, but it's not the same. And I saw there clearly the part where he says, "full of a toque," and I was like, yes! I don't know, that's my favorite insult ever, so that's that. And then he goes to proceed to say, "You shall not pass," and that was fucking incredible. I have to say that was just like, Gandalf, I love you. I got so in love with Gandalf reading this book. I don't know. I love him, and he seems way more badass and way more sassy and way more powerful than he seems in the movies for some reason. Like, in the movies, you see that he's powerful and he's wise as shit, but he kind of doesn't do a lot in a way. Like, he always appears at the right time to save them, but he doesn't do way more than that, at least in my opinion. But taking consideration that I haven't watched the movies in a while, I only watched them once and I was fairly small, so I might be wrong. But now I'm loving everyone, kind of. I like Boromir, but sometimes the way that he speaks, I want to slap him in the face. Like, bro, you don't know what you're doing. He's like, you know, the jocks in those high school American movies that are really well-intentioned, but sometimes they are kind of pretty stupid because they're thick-headed and they are not the most smart people. I know that this is a cliche, but he's like that a little bit. Like, I like him, and he kind of seems loyal and brave and stuff, but at the same time, he is always mumbling under his breath, like, oh yes, you're leading us into doom, and I have to go because I need to save my people, and bro, just accept that people know more than you do, because you came to Rivendell and you didn't know shit of how the world was going. And you fairly just want someone to go and save your people, which is perfectly fine, and I understand, and you have made a valuable service to the Middle Earth. But when people are guiding you and leading you to a place that they say that you have to go through here, even if some bad shit can happen, you just go, because if you don't know a better way to do stuff, you just listen to your superiors. That's just what I want to say. And sometimes his whining just gets to me, and probably because I don't know, I like his character, but he's just so freaking whiny. Like, in a way, just stop whining, just do stuff. Oh, because Gandalf led us through Moria, and you saw what happened there, and now you're leading us through the threes of the elves, and we are going to die. And Aragorn is like, bro, you have to go through here if you want to go anywhere at all, so you should follow me. And he's like, okay, but if shit goes wrong, it's your fault. And Aragorn is like, I know. That's why I'm leading and not you. And that's why Gandalf fled and not you. And he sacrificed himself, you fool, because of you and all the other people. And he paid the price for the mistake, because it wasn't a mistake. They have to go through Moria, but he paid the price for it. And you didn't, so why are you complaining? And I don't know, I'm sorry about the rant, but sometimes Boromir gets to me, like, for real. And I just want to, like, shake him and tell him, just listen to people for once in a while and stop thinking that you know more than everybody. And yeah, rant is over, so I hope you finish the book today or tomorrow at best. And yeah, I will see you soon. I'm almost finishing the Fellowship of the Ring, and I have to say that I got really sad when Galadriel sent Frodo and Fellowship away, and she sang that song because when Frodo destroyed the ring, supposedly all of the creations of the elves made with the other 3 rings that Sauron doesn't possess will end. And it hurt my soul so much that they were singing about the things that they were going to lose. But they were able, like, I'm legit almost crying right now. Like, you can't probably see it, but I am almost crying because Tolkien described it so well, and I'm a little bit emotional, but it's going to be okay. Oh god. Okay. I'm fine. But yeah, they want to make the sacrifice that they have to do so that everyone can be free from Sauron and the darkness and everything like that. And that is so freaking brave, and that is so sad at the same time, the way they were singing about their... Oh, God. I have to stop crying. I just put some cream on my face. But the way that they were singing about their trees and everything that they built and the love that they have for the land, and how Galadriel said goodbye to all of them and sang. It was so sad. And I'm so glad that I'm almost finished. Like, I'm just less than 30 pages to finish, so I'm going to finish it today, or tonight rather. But this hurt my soul so much. I wasn't expecting to cry reading The Lord of the Rings, because I don't know, I fairly remember that I believe I cried in one of the movies, and I don't know why, but I wasn't expecting to cry in the book, so this was nice. Tolkien's descriptions of feelings are very intense, and the songs that he puts in the middle of the pages are just so beautiful and so intense. And sometimes I have a feeling that I would love to have read the Silmarillion before reading The Lord of the Rings, because I feel like there are some parts of the characters, of the
of the elves and of the dwarves and of everything that I'm missing. But I can't wait to read the Silmarillion after I read the trilogy. I think I'm going to love it. Although it is very extensive and probably difficult, but I will love it. And I am loving this so far, so I'm getting ready to read less than 30 pages in less than an hour. So let's get into it. So I did it, and I did it in the time that I had planned. I finished The Fellowship of the Ring, the first book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien. And I am so happy that I did. And I'm gonna try and cut all of the pieces that I've been filming throughout the time that I was reading this, and I'm gonna try and put them all together so that you can see it like a vlog. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try and do that. I'm not very good at those stuff. But you probably saw that yesterday at night I had like this little emotional breakdown when I was talking about the elves. I actually did cry, and I cried while I was filming, and then I put it down. I put my phone down and I just cried my eyes out for just like 10 minutes straight, and then I was like, well, fuck it, let's just read the rest of the book because now I have it. And I'm sorry about the noise that I'm going to make, but I have to move myself because my neck is killing me. So, okay. So, I loved it, and that's the only thing that I can say. I cannot wait for the Two Towers. I was actually not expecting that it would end on that specific part where it ends. I don't know if you guys have read it or remember if you have, but The Fellowship of the Ring ends with Frodo and Sam getting away from everyone because Frodo decides that he can't ask people to go with him to Mordor, and so he goes away alone, and Sam understands that he's going, so he starts running after him, and they both go alone, and the rest of the Fellowship is just looking for Frodo, and they just get left behind, basically. So that's where it ended, and it was pretty much after Boromir tried to steal the ring from Frodo, which I have to say was not as scary as some of the things that happened in the book, and it was not as scary as when Bilbo tried to get the ring back from Frodo. No, from Gandalf. From Gandalf? Okay, I got a little bit lost. But yeah, when Bilbo tried to, like, when he was under the influence of the ring, and he actually changed, like, his face changed in the movie, and here it is described that it changes. For Boromir, maybe because I was already expecting that, it wasn't as scary as for Bilbo, and because I don't like him as much as I like Bilbo, but that's just something personal. So for him, it wasn't as spooky, but it was a little bit scary to just see him, like, fighting, like, it was two different personalities inside of him. Like, you see Boromir saying, like, yeah, like, we should use the ring to fight off the bad people, and then he thrills from there to going, like, I'm going to be the king of Gondor, and I'm going to conquer everything, and I'm going to be a benevolent and wise king. Just, he goes from the, we should use the ring as a weapon to destroy the enemy, to, I'm going to be king, and after that, he just looks at Frodo, and he's like, you want to throw him away? Give me the ring, and it's really creepy. I personally don't enjoy the fact that Frodo keeps using the fucking ring, even though I understand it was to get away from Boromir, but I think, like, people have told you time and time again that you should stop putting that in your finger, because that's not going to work out well. So, and he still does. And he thinks that he has these visions and that it allows him to see stuff clearly. But what he's doing is attracting Sauron to where he is, actually. And we see that in the end of the book, that he connects with the Eye of Sauron. And the eye almost reaches him, and then he takes off the ring, and the eye passes right up and doesn't see him. But it was really dangerous, and it was really... I was like, Frodo, again, doing shit, again.
you cannot contain yourself. Contain yourself, you damn hobbit. But yeah, I loved it. I am kind of sad to see the Fellowship broken because I love the Fellowship, but I understand that it has to be, and I was expecting that because I've watched the movies. And now I really want to read the Two Towers, but I can only start the Two Towers when I start the Time Hopathon, which will be in the 19th. So I'm just gonna read some manga in between the time, and I hope that I can start the Two Towers soon. Well, I have a week left of waiting to start the Two Towers, which I think will be good for me because it will allow me to put my head in place while I think about the Fellowship and how it ended. And can I just say that the characters are way more complex than they appear to be in the movies? Like, not only are they smarter, most of them, but they are also very complex, like way more complex than they are in the movies. Way more, like they're described differently. I started enjoying characters that I didn't in the movies, like Boromir and Gandalf. And well, I enjoyed Gandalf in the movies, but I enjoy him more in the books. Well, in the book, because he hasn't appeared in the other ones. But what was cool is that in the end of this book, it said this is how the first book of the Lord of the Rings series finishes. And in the second book, it is called Two Towers because we will be seeing the Towers of Saruman and the other ones. And I was like, oh, that's where we're going in the second book. Okay, cool, because I couldn't remember very well where we were going. So I'm happy, and we will probably see Gandalf again, because if we're going to the Towers of Saruman, then we'll probably see Gandalf again. And yeah, I'm very happy, and yeah, I just want to keep on reading. I love how they figure out that Gollum was after them, like in the water, on top of a small tree. Like, he was on top of a small tree in the water, just with his feet and hands riding the small tree and just going after them in the night. It was so freaking creepy. Like, Gollum appears out of fucking nowhere. He's like, bitches, you have my ring and I'm gonna get it. It's just so weird. Like, he's always there. Like, Frodo said in the mines that he saw these eyes, but he doesn't say anything to anyone, because why the fuck would he say something? He's just dumb. But okay, so Frodo says to Sam that he's right. He definitely saw something in the water because he also saw something in the mines and yada yada. So Gollum has been there all the time, and he's been able to, like, move by himself and to follow them by himself, and almost anyone noticed it. Like, Frodo noticed it, but probably because he was the one with the ring, and Aragorn noticed it because Aragorn is cool as fuck. But Sam only noticed it when they were in the boat. And the rest of them don't appear to have noticed it, even though Legolas is an elf, and Gimli is supposed to be this tough dwarf that knows stuff. And Boromir and Merlin and Pippin, they didn't notice anything, and Gandalf wasn't with them, so yeah. But yeah, so how is this possible that this small creature, that no one can see them, is just, and no one knows that he's there, and he's just following them, like, super creepy. He's just so creepy. Gollum is just so fucking creepy. Smeagol, I should say, because Gollum is not his name. It's the name that they give to him because of the thing that he does, you know. But yeah, I really loved it, and I thought I was going to be fed up with it by the middle, because everyone kept telling me you're going to have a lot of descriptions and you're gonna hate it, and yeah, they kept telling me this, and they were wrong. I loved it, and I think that the descriptions weren't overly descriptive. I think that they were needed, and I think that I discovered the world and the characters and the families and the inheritance and stuff like that way more easily in the book than in the movie. But I do have to read the appendices probably to figure out more stuff, and I have to read the Silmarillion to figure out the beginning of the stuff, because there are some stuff that confused me. But I loved it. I did love it, and I'm gonna try and make kind of a vlog for each book, So expect my vlog for the Two Towers. And that is that. So I hope that you guys enjoy my small vlog of, well, small, I have no idea if it's small, but my vlog for the Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. And yeah, that is all for now. Expect more soon. Bye!